The Grand Elysium Hotel stood like a shimmering monolith against the Los Angeles skyline, its glass facade reflecting the golden hues of the setting sun. Keanu Reeves stepped out of his black Porsche, handing the keys to the valet with a quiet nod. He wasn't here for the glitz or the overpriced champagne. He just wanted a night of peace, somewhere to rest his head after weeks of filming. Dressed in a simple black jacket and jeans, his hair slightly tousled, he moved through the lobby with the unhurried grace of someone who'd seen it all. The interior screamed opulence, marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and staff in crisp uniforms who smiled a little too hard. Keanu adjusted the strap of his duffel bag and approached the check-in desk. The clerk, a young man with a practiced grin, tapped away at his computer. "Mr. Reeves, welcome to the Grand Elysium. Your suite is ready. Would you like a complimentary upgrade to the penthouse level?" Keanu tilted his head, considering. "Nah, man, the regular room's fine. Thanks, though." The clerk nodded, handing over a sleek keycard. As Keanu turned to head for the elevators, a commotion near the concierge desk caught his eye. A young couple, newlyweds, judging by the way they clung to each other, stood red-faced and flustered. The groom, a lanky guy in a rumpled suit, was arguing with a hotel manager in a tailored blazer. The bride, her white dress still dusted with confetti, looked on the verge of tears. "You can't be serious," the groom said, voice rising. "We didn't take anything. This is insane." The manager, a wiry man with a slick mustache, held up a tablet displaying a grainy security photo. "This clearly shows you're removing a $5,000 crystal decanter from your suite. Hotel policy is clear. Theft incurs a fine, or we involve the authorities. Pay the fee, $10,000, and this stays between us." Keanu paused, his dark eyes narrowing. Something about the manager's tone didn't sit right. Too smooth, too rehearsed. He lingered by a potted palm, pretending to check his phone, and listened. "That's double the value," the groom protested. "We didn't even touch it. We've been at the pool all day." "Then explain the footage," the manager snapped, tapping the tablet. "Pay, or I call the police. Your choice." The bride tugged at her husband's arm. "Let's just pay. Tom, I don't want this ruining our honeymoon." Keanu's jaw tightened. He'd seen enough. With a slow, deliberate stride, he approached the group. The manager noticed him first, his expression shifting from smug to starstruck in an instant. "Mr. Reeves, what an honor. How can I assist you?" Keanu ignored the flattery, his gaze steady. "What's going on here?" The groom jumped in before the manager could spin it. "They're accusing us of stealing some decanter we've never seen. They want 10 grand, or they'll call the cops. It's a shakedown." The manager chuckled nervously. "A misunderstanding, I assure you. Hotel policy. Mind if I see that footage?" Keanu interrupted, his voice low but firm. The manager hesitated, then handed over the tablet with a forced smile. "Of course, sir. Transparency is our priority." Keanu studied the screen. The image was blurry, time-stamped from an hour ago. It showed 2 figures in a suite, one holding a decanter, the other standing by the door. The groom's lanky frame and the bride's dress were vaguely recognizable, but something was off. The lighting was dim, the angles odd. Keanu zoomed in, his brow furrowing. "This isn't them," he said, handing the tablet back. The manager blinked. "Excuse me." "The guy in the photo's wearing sneakers. Your groom here's got dress shoes. And the woman's dress, it's got a different neckline. You're running a scam." The manager's smile faltered. "That's absurd. Our security system is rigged." Keanu finished. He turned to the couple. "You got any photos from the pool today? Something time-stamped?" The bride fumbled with her phone, pulling up a selfie of them lounging by the water. The timestamp matched the supposed theft. Keanu held it up for the manager to see. "Explain that," he said simply. The manager's face reddened. "A glitch, perhaps? I'll need to speak with my team." "No," Keanu said, stepping closer. "You'll drop this now. Refund their stay. 2. Or I start asking questions louder. I'm guessing this isn't the first time you've pulled this." The lobby had gone quiet, guests and staff watching the exchange. The manager swallowed hard, then forced a nod. Of course, Mr. Reeves. Clerical error. I'll handle it. Keanu didn't move until the couple's bill was voided and the manager slunk away, muttering about system updates. The groom exhaled, shaking Keanu's hand. Dude, you're a legend. Thank you. Keanu shrugged, a faint smile tugging at his lips. Just didn't like the vibe. Enjoy your honeymoon. But he wasn't done. Back in his room, Keanu couldn't shake the feeling that this went deeper. The manager's quick retreat, the polished setup. It smelled like a system, not a one-off. He pulled out his laptop, a beat-up old thing he'd had for years, and started digging. A quick search turned up reviews of the Grand Elysium. Most were glowing, but buried in the one-star ratings were patents, guests accused of damages or theft, forced to pay exorbitant fees. One reviewer mentioned a decanter, another a missing robe. All settled quietly after threats of police involvement. Keanu leaned back, rubbing his beard. This wasn't just a greedy manager. This was organized. He needed proof. Slipping into the hallway, he found a service elevator and rode it to the basement. The corridors were stark, fluorescent lit, a far cry from the lobby's glamour. Voices echoed from a storage room. Keanu pressed himself against the wall and listened. Reeves is trouble, the manager was saying. He's asking questions. A deeper voice replied, Relax, Vince. He's an actor, not a cop. Stick to the script. Hit the high rollers. Keep it discreet. We've got the footage guy on payroll. Keanu's eyes darkened. Footage guy. That explained the fakes. He slipped his phone from his pocket, hit record, and angled it through the cracked door. The manager paced, gesturing wildly. We've made $1 million this quarter. If Reeves talks, it's over. Then make sure he doesn't, the deep voice said. Offer him a deal. Everyone's got a price. Keanu pulled back, uploading the audio to a cloud drive as he retraced the steps. But as he reached the elevator, a shadow loomed behind him, a broad-shouldered man in a dark suit, the deep voice from a recording. Up close, he was imposing, with a shaved head and a scar tracing his jawline. Mr. Reeves, the man said, his tone clipped. You're sticking your nose where it doesn't belong. Keanu turned slowly, hands loose at his sides. And you're running a racket in a nice hotel. Who's the real problem here? The man smirked. You think you're John Wick? This isn't a movie. Walk away, or we'll make it messy. Keanu tilted his head, unfazed. Mess is not my style. But I've got your voice on tape, talking about $1 million. How's that gonna look to the cops? The man's smirk faded. He stepped closer, towering over Keanu. You're bluffing. Try me, Keanu said, his voice steady as steel. For a moment, they stood locked in silence, the hum of the basement buzzing around them. Then the man backed off, muttering, You'll regret this, before disappearing into the shadows. Keanu didn't flinch. He rode the elevator back to his floor, mind racing. This wasn't just a hotel scam. It was a machine, and the scarred guy wasn't the top. Someone bigger was pulling strings. He needed more than audio. He needed names. Back in his room, he called an old friend, Lila, a journalist he'd met years ago on a set. She picked up on the second ring. Keanu, it's been forever. What's up? Got a story for you, he said. Grand Elysium's blackmailing guests. Fake footage, big payouts. I've got proof, but it's deeper than I can dig. Lila whistled. That's juicy. I'll poke around. Give me a day. Cool. Stay safe. Yeah? Always, she laughed, hanging up. While Lila worked her angles, Keanu hit the hotel bar. He wasn't much for drinking, but it was a good spot to watch. The place was packed. Tourists, suits, a few too slick types who didn't fit. One caught his eye, a woman in a red dress, mid-40s, sipping a martini while glancing at her phone. She didn't look like a guest. Too calm, too in control. He ordered a coffee and kept her in his peripheral. Sure enough, the manager, Vince, approached her table, looking rattled. Keanu couldn't hear them, but Vince's gestures were frantic. The woman waved him off, her expression cold. Boss vibes. Keanu sipped his coffee, filing it away. Lila called back the next morning. You're onto something big. The Elysium's owned by a shell company tied to Victor Crane, real estate mogul with a shady rep. Word is, he's got hotels across the coast running this scam. The scarred guy you met? Probably 𝗚cie𝘁𝗶𝗰𝗲, Crane's fixer. Crane, Keanu repeated. Where's he at? Penthouse, downtown L.A. But is untouchable, cops in his pocket, lawyers on speed dial. Not untouchable, Keanu said. Thanks, Lila. He hung up, grabbed his jacket, and drove to Crane's building, a sleek tower that dwarfed the Elysium. Security was tight, but Keanu had a knack for blending in. He slipped past a lobby guard with a delivery guy, rode the service elevator to the top, and found himself outside a mahogany door. Voices drifted through. Reeves is a problem, 𝗚cie𝘁𝗶𝗰𝗲 growled. He's got audio. Then bury it, a sharper voice snapped. Crane, Keanu guessed. Pay him off, break his phone, whatever it takes. Keanu knocked. The room went silent. Marcus yanked the door open, scowling. Behind him stood Victor Crane, silver-haired, impeccably dressed, radiating arrogance. Mr. Reeves, Crane said, smirking. To what do I owe the visit? Keanu stepped inside, hands in his pockets. Your hotel's ripping people off. I've got proof. Stop it, or it goes public. Crane laughed. You think you can threaten me? I own this city. Not the people in it, Keanu said. They'll care when they hear your voice on tape, talking about burying evidence. Marcus lunged, but Keanu sidestepped, grabbing his arm and twisting it behind his back, a move straight out of a stunt rehearsal. Crane paled. Call him off, Keanu said calmly. Now. Crane waved a hand, and Marcus relented, glaring. What do you want? Crane asked. Shut down the scam. Refund every guest you've hit. All Lila publishes everything. Audio, names, all of it. Crane's smirk vanished. You're bluffing. Keanu pulled out his phone, hit play, and let Crane's voice fill the room. Pay him off, break his phone. He stopped it, staring Crane down. You'll move. The standoff stretched, then Crane slumped. Fine, it's done. Keanu didn't trust him to keep his word. He sent the audio to Lila with a note. Hold it. Wait for my signal. Then he returned to the Elysium. By evening, the hotel was chaos. Refunds processed, staff scrambling, Vince and Marcus hauled off in cuffs after an anonymous tip to the lap. Keanu watched from the bar, coffee in hand, as a woman in the red dress slipped out, her role unclear but her exit telling. The newlyweds found him again. They're giving us a month free, the bride said, beaming. You're a hero. Keanu chuckled. Just glad you're good. Take care. As he checked out, the valet grinned. Heard you took down the whole thing. Badass. Just another day. Man, Keanu said, sliding into his Porsche. He drove off into the L.A. haze, leaving the Grand Elysium humbled, and Crane's empire cracked.